the last few weeks, we've had people sharing stories, and I haven't asked for it, but they keep coming. So we have one more story to share today. I'll invite Barb to come forward.
Good morning. On Wednesday evening, I was getting ready to serve soup supper, and a man came through from the south side of the fellowship hall and walked toward the kitchen, and I noticed he seemed a little disheveled, and so I met him halfway and said to him, "Can I help you?" Because often we have people come in our church to look for the office or look for something. And he said, "What's going on here?" And I said, "Well, we have supper that we're serving in just a few minutes." I know it was 10 minutes to 5 because I looked at the clock. And he said, and I said, "You're welcome to stay if you want. We have it every Wednesday night." And so he didn't say too much, but he sat down at a table. And as I was getting ready to continue the serving and getting the food together and corralling the youth that work with me, corralling, got that? Because sometimes you have to bring them in. I noticed he kept sitting by himself at this table of 8, and that made me feel really sad. The other tables were filling up, and I thought, well, I can't do anything, but whatever. So I don't know, 15 minutes into the supper, I looked out the kitchen one more time at the man named Alan, that was his name. My heart just melted. There were 4 women maybe, I think 4 women, I just checked this out. Nancy, Will, Francie, help me. Janet, I know Janet, and Karen Bond. And they were sitting at his table. And the thing I noticed right away was this table still had 3 empty seats across. And my thought was, if they were joining him at the table just to join him at the table, they certainly could have sat across from him and left some spots open because we didn't know who he was. But you know what I saw? I saw them physically, not with arms, huddled around him. They chose the chairs right next to him, and they didn't sit this way. They were sitting into him. That's what I saw. When I saw everybody leaving church, because I was still trying to share some soup and some desserts, Pastor was talking to him. I saw Randy Westby, who's a friend of his, I found out, talking to him. And then I found out that he didn't have a ride home. So I'm just, I'm just taking this all in. My new friend, Alan, I'm just like, whoa. Well, I was the last one, I believe, to see him as he left the church because it would happen to be my husband, ended up volunteering to take him home. Do you know he was a changed man? He was talking to Pastor Felix. His voice was louder than it was when he came in to the fellowship hall. I know that because I greeted him and I could hardly hear him. I was 10 feet away from him talking to Pastor Felix, and they were having a conversation. I don't think it was just Pastor Felix. His whole face changed when he came back to get some soup. I know the people of God at Faith Lutheran Church made a difference. And Janet, I understand you are the ringleader here. I asked the ladies, apparently it was her idea and Karen's, and they kept saying, "Let's go over and sit." And finally, Janet or Karen or together, they said, "I'm going to do it." And then they had people follow. You have no idea what that means as a 40-year-plus member of Faith Lutheran Church. I love you for how you show yourselves as people of God, empowered by sacrament, reaching out in love.
Amen.